Good evening, class. This is my presentation for security for Lockbaud. And first, want to discuss about Lockbaud. Lockbaud is a local Kansas City business, and they are an IT service company for local Kansas City businesses. And as previously stated, they mostly do VoIP phone services, but they do a whole host of other things such as hosting and network security and whatnot, like web hosting, and they do some server maintenance for some companies, and they even do some networking, running network lines and maintaining those infrastructures. So they're kind of like a one-stop shop for small businesses and some medium-sized businesses. And uh, the main threats, the security threats that Lockbaud sees, are two main threats that we've discussed previously. The phishing attacks, which have gotten a lot more sophisticated and even targeted towards Lockbaud to pull out some information, the intellectual property rights of its clientele as well as the clients. And sometimes what is interesting is that um, those phishing attacks will spoof um, their clients and try to get pertinent information pertaining to those clients, so they can access those clients, their databases or whatever information they want to steal from them. Um, and the um, the other thing is the ransomware attacks. And what's interesting in ransomware um, is that the ransomware that they are using uh, can sometimes infect like some of their backups, because not all the backups from the client side are going towards like usually for if you're having an automated backup, you are running through a specialized program that's going to isolate everything out. Um, and those services can be quite costly. So some of the backups we're talking about is literally on an alternate hard drive on the client side that Lockbaud maintains. Um, so if the ransomware finds its way towards the backups or infects a backup file, so when it's reinserted into the main system, it starts propagating again. That is a huge problem for Lockbaud, because that means their services are no longer able to be as secure. They look bad and whatnot. Um, the IT solution I have for them is just, first of all, maintaining better protocols when it comes to the VoIP, the phishing attacks, like having a mandatory internal external um, um, tagging for the messages coming in and out, having a systemized uh, um, security passcode uh, that would be given for voice authorization. So that way, if a client says, "Hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z," and to a larger project, or it sounds kind of like it's a little fishy, Lockbot can quickly identify if this is an actual authorized use by using an old-fashioned passcode, like Swordfish. Or they'd ask a question like, "Where did you guys get married at this year?" And if the person never's been married, they'd say Barcelona, which is obviously not true, and that signal to the person that this guy is not an authorized person. Um, and then the other one for the ransomware is to have things isolated, but with a security system to check up to see if those files are being accessed or are trying to be active within their client side backup system, to kind of lock that down a bit more. So just some of that monitoring software. But the more important thing here, I think, is the behavioral piece for Lockbaud. Um, the first step I have in this whole process is to breathe. And in mindfulness, you want to be aware of what's going on. So your first objective is to pause and to center yourself, and that's why we say breathe. And then you're going to reassure that client that things are fine, and you're assuring yourself that things are fine. So you're not overacting. You're not going to reach out and do things you're not supposed to do because you're trying to fix something you haven't quite assessed. The next step is identify what's going on. Many times when you're if you have a perceived threat that's happening, you're like, "Oh, this happened, that happened." if you actually stop and just kind of make it a very systematic, like this is what happened at this time, this is what happened at this time, you can start seeing a clearer picture so you can have a better assessment. A lot of mistakes are made when you are trying to fix a problem and you fully don't understand what the problem is. You can do more damage than you can good in those cases. The third step is to inform the client of what's going on. Well, is to make the assessment of what's going on, and so that you can fix the problem. You inform the client what's going on. You're communicating. You're implementing your plan to fix that, but more so than just implementing that plan to fix the IT security threat. You are also figuring out. You're logging these reports to find out if there's a systematic approach to these things, so you can identify those threats, not just for this one client, but for your other clients as well within Lockbaud. And then the last one, let me put my notes real fast. The last step in all of this is to reestablish control of the situation. And what that means is you have to reestablish that rapport that you had, because that client just lost their information, or they just were hacked, or they just were phished, and they feel that the trust bond has been broken. You have to go in there and kind of reassert that control to maintain that client's healthfulness, because the reality is, as much as people don't like to hear this, you are going to get hacked. You are going to have these threats be successful because they're happening every day, and you cannot stop the inevitable. What you can do is create that rapport and create that professional respect, and assure that client that you've taken steps, and try to find ways to take more steps and do more education with them and be more hands-on, because a good security team is going to be that which provides a better sense of security for their clients, and not just be the man behind the curtain. So that is my IT presentation for Lockbaud. I presented this to Lockbaud actually, and they did appreciate the pause approach when conducting these kind of conversations with their clients, because a lot of times they'll be freaking out and they need to be reassured. There was what Sam was telling me is that a lot of times clients feel like the whole world's crashing around them. They need to be reassured that the world is not crashing around them, and you have solutions and you're finding solutions, and if the worst were to happen, they're going to be okay. So that human connection is very important to maintain. Even though this is IT and people are like, you know what, this is very not, I didn't go into IT for psychology, I came into IT because I like computers. The human behavioral aspect is paramount because you're still dealing with humans. So that's my presentation for Lockbaud.